Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Om Jnanatimirantasya Jnananjana-Shalakya Chakshurmitranam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Krishna. Thank you very much for giving such a calm and serene atmosphere and leading wonderful prayers before I came. And thank you very much for giving your precious time and coming in such a cool temperature like -11 right now outside. And whether you could have done something else, but you decided to come and serve in the mission of Guru and Quran. Thank you very much. Today, we'll start with one shlok which you find in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela. It's in Bengali, but it's easy. शिक्षा गुरु के ते जानी कृष्णेर स्वरूप अंतर्यामी भक्त श्रेष्ठ एक दुई रूप. Shiksha Guru ke, the spiritual master who instructs, the indeed Jani, I know, Krishna of Krishna, Sarup, the direct representative, Antaryami, the indwelling swer soul, Bhakta Shresh, the best devotee, A, these, Dui, two, Roop, forms. Translated purport by Sri Prabhupada. One should know the instructing spiritual master to be the personality of Krishna. Lord Krishna manifests himself as the super soul and as the greatest devotee of the Lord. So, Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami states that the instructing spiritual master is a bona fide representative of Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna himself teaches us as the instructing spiritual master from within and without. From within, he teaches us Paramatma, our constant companion, and from without, he teaches from the Bhagavad Gita as the instructing spiritual master. There are two kinds of instructing spiritual masters. One is the liberated person, fully absorbed in meditation and devotional service, and the other is he who invokes the disciples' spiritual consciousness by means of relevant instructions. The instructions in the science of devotion are differentiated in terms of objective and subjective way of understanding. The Acharya, in the true sense of the term, who is authorized to deliver Krishna, enriches the disciple with full spiritual knowledge and thus awakens him to the activities of the devotional service. When by learning from the self-realized spiritual master, one actually engages himself in the service of Lord Vishnu, the functional devotional service begins. The procedures of devotional service are known as adhyay, or actions one is duty bound to perform. Our only shelter is the Supreme Lord, and one who teaches how to approach Krishna is the functioning form of the personality of Godhead. There is no difference between the shelter-giving Supreme Lord and the initiating and instructing spiritual masters. If one foolishly discriminates between them, he commits an offense in the discharge of the devotional service. Sri Sanatana Goswami is the ideal spiritual master, for he delivers one the shelter of the lotus feet of Madan Mohan. Even though one may be unable to travel on the field of Vrindavan due to forgetfulness of his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can get an adequate opportunity to stay in Vrindavan and derive all spiritual benefits by the mercy of Sanatana Goswami. Sri Govindaji acts exactly like a Shiksha Guru, instructing spiritual master by teaching Arjuna the Bhagavad Gita. He is the original preceptor, for he gives us instruction and an opportunity to serve him. The initiating spiritual master is a personal manifestation of Shiv Madan Mohan Vigraha, whereas the instructing spiritual master is a personal representative of Shiv Govinda Dev Vigraha. Both of these deities are worshipped in Vrindavan. Shiv Gopinath is the ultimate attraction in spiritual realization. Now, we are talking about Shiv Gopinath, Govinda Dev, Madan Mohan. These are all the names of Krishna only, depending on his activities. So, having said that as a background, now, so we must accept Acharya or Guru as a representative of Krishna, and we must respect him as we would respect Krishna himself. This was the point which Shilpawar also was trying to explain to all the devotees or aspiring devotees. Now, what is the significance of Acharya? As we see in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 70th chapter, 27th verse. Acharyam mam vijaniyam navamanataya karechit namatya buddhasudya sarvadeva mayo guru. So Krishna himself says that Acharya should be treated like Krishna himself, and we should not be disrespecting Acharya in any way. One should not envy the spiritual master or Acharya, thinking of him as an ordinary man, for he is the representative of all the demigods. So, a spiritual master is not an enjoyer of facilities offered by his disciples. Now, we see that there is a dichotomy like why should Papa should go by air, why should have all the facilities. He said that, well, when you are respecting Acharya, the etiquette says that you should respect as if you respect the God himself. Because Acharya is like a parent. Without the attentive service of his parents, a child cannot grow to manhood. Similarly, without the care of spiritual master, one cannot rise to the plane of transcendental service. The spiritual master is also called Acharya or transcendental professor of spiritual science. Manu Samhita explains the duties of an Acharya, describing that a bona fide or actual spiritual master accepts charge of disciples, teaches them Vedic knowledge with all its intricacies, and gives them the second birth. Now, to a layman, it might appear that Acharya, what's the loose translation in English or coming close? We are talking about spiritual master, but you can say that, okay, isn't he the one who's teaching? So, what is the difference between Acharya or spiritual master and teacher? Well, those of you are keeping in touch with the technical development, technological development. Now, the latest war which is going on is about artificial intelligence, and after the DeepSeek has come, it has become even more aggressive. And in fact, now there's another version which has come out. There are many versions coming out. So artificial intelligence is so powerful that now it's replacing many human beings from their jobs altogether. So if I'm saying, let's say for example, I'm talking about this lecture. If you put in AI chat GPT or DeepSeek or anywhere, okay, I want to give a session. So chat GPT will give you more information than you can imagine. So basically it's replacing human beings. So what's the significance between teacher and acharya? Teacher can be easily replaced by artificial intelligence because knowledge you can, if you don't like one teacher or you don't like one college, you can go to some other college and learn. That we have seen happening all the time. But acharya is not like that because representative of God. If you leave one representative, you may not be lucky to find another representative. So that lays the prime importance because acharya is the one who gives a second birth. Now, how do we say that second birth? Because if you realize in this prayer, Om Agyan Timiran Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshumta Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. All of us are born ignorant. Like if you think that I'm able to talk to you or you are able to listen to me, it's all because of our teachers. And who are our first teachers? One may ask. Mother is the one who taught us to speak first, and father. And then as we started dealing with society, various teachers came in various designations, like from kindergarten to upper school or in school, college. So at every stage we have come up with different teachers. But when we are talking about Guru out here, he's the one who gives our actual identity. That what is the purpose of all this knowledge which you acquired so far? Because if you are not perfecting your life, it's always wasted your knowledge. So that knowledge which he gives is the knowledge which actually matters, and that's why that knowledge when we get and we start imbibing, that is our second birth. That is the significance of acharya about teacher. Because many teachers lead us to one acharya, and then acharya is the one who gives us our second birth, by which we can perfect our lives and go back to Godhead. Now comes a fear that okay, we have seen so many gurus falling, and we have also seen so many even sannyasis falling. And what to talk about other facts in our sect also, we have seen that happening. So Sri Prabhupada has explained that see, first of all, we are not talking about emotional people. We are talking about people who are objective in their thinking. This ISKCON movement or Vaishnava movement is not meant for sentimentalists or emotional people. It's meant for people who think objectively and who are here to perfect their lives. So Chilpava says that not only Acharya identifies who is the right disciple, even the disciple should understand who is the person who should they trust. So if person is posing as Acharya but does not have attitude or servitorship to the Lord, like you see, okay, what have you done for me? If a person is talking with that attitude, you must understand that he's not Acharya. He's just here for his personal gains. He's like a trickster or con man. So he's basically an offender. And so he's not qualified to be Acharya in the first place. And when we are talking about the genuine spiritual master or Acharya, we are talking about a person who's unalloyed devotional service to a personality of Godhead Krishna. Now, what is unalloyed? Right? He has no other agenda or she has no other agenda just to serve God. When the person is only serving God and anybody and everybody is just trying to or she's trying to engage in the service of Krishna, that is actually the person qualified to be Acharya. So by this test, if the minute a person we are interacting with sense that okay, sometimes he's talking or she's talking about I, me, myself. So you understand that this person is just pretending, is not there yet at least. So that's where you can check. Now why we are talking Nityanand Prabhu? He's the cardinal guru or the first guru. He's the first expansion of Krishna. So he's the one who's seen as a spiritual master. So the person who's following that standard is fit to be Acharya. And that Acharya is not different from Krishna. And if we are, by mistake, if we are actually accidentally also, we are envious of that type of person, then definitely we are not going to advance in spiritual life. So, does somebody recognize what is this prayer we are talking about? The word is just like forest fire, and spiritual master is just like a cloud on the sky. Therefore, as the forest fire can be extinguished only from by water from the sky, similarly, one can be peaceful and elevated in spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness only by the mercy of bona fide spiritual master. Does anybody recognize? Yeah, those who come for morning services they realize this. It's a Shri Guru Ashtaka. It's a prayer by Vishnu Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. These are basically 8 prayers, but we are focusing as per today's topic on the 8th one. By the mercy of this, it's like Yasya Prasada Bhagavad Prasado, Yasya Prasadana Gati Kutopi, Dhyayanstu Vansha Tapasya Yasya, Trisandhyam Vande Guru Shri Charamanandam. So basically, it's the mercy or unconditional love of the spiritual master that one receives the benediction of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. So without spiritual master, we just cannot progress. That's the point. And therefore, I should always remember and praise the spiritual master. At least 3 times a day, I should offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master. Now, one may say that why in ISKCON in the mornings we are always singing this prayer every day. Is it not good enough? But the thing is that we have got Kaliyug memory, so we are just trying to. So someday we actually start believing, and then actually from within we get this spirit within ourselves. That's why we do it every day in the morning. When we talk about parampara or disciplic succession, because we are talking about Acharya, so parampara is coming right from Krishna, who gave this knowledge to Brahma, his son. Then he gave to Narad, and from Vyasadev, slowly it came to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and then to Srila Prabhupada, to us. So this is our parampara, of Brahma Mother, Gaudiya Sampradaya. Another example is like we are talking about Narad Muni. So there was this story where there was king who had two sons from two wives. So the Dhruv Maharaj, or this son, we are talking the protagonist of our story, he wanted to sit in father's lap. So his stepmother said, "No, you are not qualified. You're not fit enough there." And we are talking about a child who's just 6 year old, and he was totally hurt. And then he went to forest based on what his mother told him. So she just left, and then he went to Narad Muni, and Narad Muni tried to discourage him. But then he said, "What sort of acharya you are if you are trying to discourage me from going to God?" So then he gave the mantra which we always speak just before the start of session, like Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So how powerful is this mantra that Dhruv Maharaj just continuously kept on uttering this mantra again and again for 6 months, and within 6 months he perfected his life because he saw Vishnu or Krishna himself within 6 months. And whereas we see that sages also they are practicing austerities for thousands of years and thousands of lifetimes, but within 6 months, within because of this mantra, he got. And just see a prince who's used to royalties of life, and when he found a right acharya, he perfected his life. So this is the significance of an acharya. We can give many examples. I was also thinking of another case, but that's a case of a good teacher. Like the good teacher also makes a difference. Like we know Alexander the Great, the king. He just received the education from Aristotle, the famous philosopher, for just 3 years, from 13 to 16, and then he became a conqueror that he was never defeated. Of course, at the age of 34, he died also because of disease. But good teacher is also very good. But we are talking about acharya. So today, or sorry, today we are discussing about the great personality who's, as per Vaishnav calendar, is taking birth tomorrow, appearance day of Sri Bhaktisana Saraswati Thakur, who incidentally is the Acharya or Guru of Bhaktisana Saraswati Thakur. So every time a Vaishnava appears or disappears, it's a festival because it's all auspicious. Because they are always reminding us of Krishna's pastimes. So they are always auspicious. So we are talking about a person who last year we celebrated his 150th birthday. And he was philosopher, social reformer, and a spiritual leader. And you can see that he did not live for many years, from 1874 to 1937. But within that, he had phenomenal achievement. So we are just discussing some of his pastimes. So if you realize, he was born as Bimla Prasad Dutt, born to Bhakti Vinod Thakur or Kedarnath Dutt, who was again a very qualified, both academically as well as spiritually, who was also a philosopher, teacher, and spiritual reformer of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And generally, it's an association like who talks about God, the person. You see some sarcastic jokes also. A person who talks about God is a person generally who does not have anything in life to achieve for. But we see that he had received Western and traditional education, and Western education at that time was very costly. But it's there, so you can imagine because his father was a very senior official, and he was coming from a very rich family. They had their own car at that time. I'm talking about in 1970s also. I knew one person who had a green Fiat car. Nowadays it doesn't even exist in market, but that person was supposed to be very rich. So, and we are talking way before that, 1870s or something like that. So he's coming from such a rich family. And in 1900, he took Vaishnavism, this ascetic Gaurkishore Babaji's initiation. And he had to quickly master the Vedas. And by the time of 9, he was 9 year old, he had remembered all the Bhagavad Gita, 700 verses, just like that. And he was also known as living encyclopedia. Like you could ask him anything, and he was very good at that. So when he grew up, when he realized his father also passed away, then he took sannyas, and then he was wondering how to basically spread this knowledge. Because if you are having lots of knowledge and if you don't pass it on to others, the newer generation, so basically that knowledge gets wasted within you. So he saw, because if you want to see culture anywhere in India, you generally try to go to South India because they are very strict on that. So he followed their model, and then he realized that he has to develop or basically guide people in the Chetan tradition because now everybody had forgotten. So he was reviving that movement. So he started his Calcutta Bhakti Vinod Asan, a center where people were free to come. And then he started calling this Gaudi Mutt. And then he started basically encouraging people to come and stay there. There he'll be guiding how to live a life of a devotee and how to advance in Vaishnava philosophy. And you can see that even at that age, he had Westerners like Alan Shapiro, Richard Brown, and then Walls, who came into God Vaishnavism by meeting son Ernst George Schule in religious gathering in India. And we are talking about 1935. So basically, they had come to India because generally it is in India it is said that okay, if something comes from Western world, that's very advanced. So keeping that thing in mind, he had already got devotees who was spreading this movement. He tried many things, but as the time was not right, so generally it just remained quite limited. But then he was practicing not only in Western world, but he spread 64 Gaudi Math or 64 centers in Burma, England, Germany, and India. And he had three printing presses because he realized that if I'm talking, people may remember me or forget. But if they have some printed material, so obviously they'll have a long retentivity. So he had his three print. He called Mridangas. Why Mridangas? Because we see that when we are playing rhythm, everybody hears. So same way, books give that type of sound to others, those who are reading. So he was a well equivalent. Of course, he was publishing father's writings, but Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chetan Bhagavat, Chetan Mangal, Prem Bhakti Chandrika, and favorite book Rishi Chandra. He published many other books, and he used many innovative methods to do the preaching. He would use exhibits and dioramas like using dolls and all those things to spread Krishna consciousness. What was the latest thing he would using that? Like we are using this projector, or this speaker, mic, and then laptops and all. So he was already doing that, and we are talking way back in 1930s. And wherever possible, he would be putting marble impression. If you see in our place also, we have marble impression. This is a practice which was started by him, and he was the first person. He said that okay, just saying like while in Rome do as the Romans do. So he said that you don't have to wear this sannyasi dresses. If the need we wear overcoats and all those things, right? Because people when they see that you are like one of them, they will be more comfortable. So he was very progressive in his thought process, and he was talking about Europe, which was supposed to be the hub of cultural activities. So he was following Yukta Vairagya. So basically everything used to be utilized in the service of Krishna. So he knew exactly how to use all the things which people will be getting actually and charmed by in the service of Lord Krishna. And his original works, it's not that he was just publishing his father's work and others. He had done many other works on his own. And there's something which are not even published. So he was quite a very dominant and very progressive preacher. And not only that, we are talking about not only spirituality, he was also into astronomy. He was very good in mathematics. So he had produced, perfected the art of this astrology also. Of course, he did not proceed further because he realized that bhakti is more important than astrology also. So he was prolific in that field also. So he was like multi-dimensional person, multi-talented person. And then of all his contributions, because we see that he was already spreading all his knowledge, but his greatest contribution, as we understand, is Srila Prabhupada, who became his disciple and who was skeptical initially, but then when he realized that he has found the right spiritual master, devoted his life. And then ISKCON came into picture. And if you see the dates I have highlighted, it was December 3rd, 1936, when Srila Prabhupada had written because he realized that he was not able to serve his guru. He felt that okay, I'm not able to do much. He was feeling guilty. So he said, "Is there something I would like you would like me to do?" So he answered this letter, like, "Okay, maybe you can surprise people. You can spread this knowledge. Why don't you preach?" That's what he was telling right from the day he had met him for the first time. And on 1st January 1937, Bhaktivinoda Saraswati left it at the age of 63. So you see just the last letter which he gave, and this thing hurt Srila Prabhupada very much that okay, I could not serve, but then this became Srila Prabhupada's mission. So we are talking two pure devotees, one pure acharya and then other acharya to us. But a pure devotee and a pure acharya. So taking this as a mission, Shilpapad went abroad and then he started spreading this Krishna consciousness. And what made him successful? He was just repeating the message what his Guru Maharaj had received the parampara. And so this was a great success of Srila Prabhupada. If Srila Prabhupada was trying to, like many other so-called devotees or like so-called preachers, he was also going to do on his own, he would not have been this successful. But since he was giving the message like a messenger, that's why he was successful. And like his guru had Gaudiya Math, so he started making ISKCON temples. And he had 64 Gaudiya Maths, so he ended up having 108 temples worldwide. And when they asked Srila Prabhupada, okay, how was your spiritual master? He said he was a Vaikunt man. And the same thing we say about Srila Prabhupada also, he was a Vaikunt man. He just came here not because he had some past karma or life to take care of, but to be spread the mercy of Krishna to us. So when we are actually receiving this all this knowledge, so it becomes our morally obligatory for us that we also take this mission. We also try to guide others, whether we are achieving our perfection or not. But if we are just trying to relay this message, Krishna is going to see at this effort. Like we have seen, some of us have seen how posty people work out, post people work out here. They are not giving something on their own. They are just giving what is received to be received by us. Somebody else has given, they are just doing their duty. So if we just behave with that attitude of a post person, so then we are actually on the right path. And basically, if we are understanding this, all this knowledge is coming from Krishna, and without putting our own inputs, if we are just giving it, so we are also following the disciplic instruction correctly. And Narottam Das Thakur says that if you want to produce good results, if you have to advance in Krishna consciousness, you have to follow Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. Saintly person like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is manifestation of Krishna himself. Then also to literature, which are the Krishna in literature form, and the person who guides us this. So this is the process of Krishna conscious or our process. And like here we see like Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he was a senior district magistrate, and then he had sent his copy right in 1880s to Ralph Waldo Emerson, very qualified person and a rainfall horse in Europe. Then Bhaktivedanta Saraswati in 1930s. You see, after 50 years, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati was establishing Gaudiya Math. And in 1960, after 36 years, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur started establishing this ISKCON movement worldwide. And concluding, this is one of conclusion is also given by Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur himself. He has written this prayer. So I'll just use the highlighter. You can see it for yourself. Like within and without, he who serves with enthusiasm will gradually attain the rarest pure devotion. In devotion to Lord Krishna, one who has firm faith is a person loyal and devoted on the path. And if Sri Krishna's service he fails to attain, yet practices patience, devote is such a man. That which serves Lord Krishna for only Krishna's pleasure, in such action the devotee can never feel anger. Abandoning the company of the non-devotee, ever with devotees, the devout serve Sri Hari. Following the pure devotee's direction on the path, the true devout practice as a matter of life and death. Who follows these six qualities qualify for pure devotion. They purify the universe by their preaching mission. Hare Krishna. Is there any question or comment? Please ask. Thank you for your time. Any questions? Any comments? Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your